Hello and welcome. Today I'll be talking about nutrition for rugby players who want to put on muscle. All right, and yes, we can all use a bit more muscle. That way, we can be better in contact. We can break more tackles. You can get faster if you have more muscle mass compared to fat. There's a whole lot of different things if you are stronger and you have some more muscle mass. So my keys today will be talking about your protein, fats, carbs, how much you need to be eating to be putting on muscle. What are the best foods? So that's a frequent question I've gotten about building muscle. The next one is how to not put on fat when you're building muscle. That's an interesting one because a lot of people, especially guys, are like, I still want to get fat or I want to get slow. So I'm going to talk about that. And then my big one is digestive issues and building muscle, how they relate to each other and what you can do about it. And how much that actually impacts your performance. So that's coming on last. And then my last one, which is going to tie into that, is my biggest problem with guys building muscle. And why is it that some guys can't build muscle and then some guys just seem to be able to put on muscle when they look at a weight? So we're going to get into that. So if you like this, please share it, subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. I like it, dislike it, whatever. Just help me out here. Anyway, let's get into this. So, how much do you need to be eating? Okay, because this is a big one, and this really depends on the person. Okay, it depends on your current size, your current weight, what you're doing in the day, and this is a big one. It's like, are you really active during the day? Are you just doing one workout a day and that's it, and then sitting down for the rest of the day? Do you have a day job? Are you still in school? How much are you moving? And that will actually indicate how much more you need to eat. So if you're doing a lot of movement, you're on your feet a lot, then you're going to have to eat more. Okay, it's really simple. And then if you're not doing anything, like if you're sitting down all day and you're just doing one workout, then possibly you don't need to eat quite as much. So the first thing I like to do is have a look at that. Okay, and then the second thing I like to do is I don't really like just setting macros and being like, here's a meal plan. You can do that if you like. It does work. I'm not saying it doesn't. I just don't like becoming a baby towards that. But it is good to know how much you're consuming. So I always recommend to people, if you just start tracking for a little bit and you get a good idea of how much you're actually eating, that's a really good start to understand, okay, I need to get this much in of protein, I need to get this much of carbs, I need to get these much fats. I like to break it down to about 30% fats, anywhere between 30 and 40% protein, and the rest carbs. Sometimes I go more on the protein heavy side because I like a lot of red meat. But it's up to the person and what works for them. If someone's already got quite a lot of fat on them, I actually go the opposite way. I go much higher in protein and I keep the fats still around that 30% of their total calorie. And then, I actually drop the carbs. But what I like to do with people that already have quite a lot of fat is I like to give them the carbs at night, okay? And not too many carbs. I start off at 100 grams and then I start building up to 200 grams. And then one day a week, I like to have a really big carb day where we go 200, 300, 400 grams of carbs depending on how they're going currently. So they're my recommendations usually. But yeah, it is dependent on the person and what's going to work for you. And I suggest if you're trying to build muscle and you're quite a small guy, start at 3,000 calories, all right, and see how you're going with that. Then trying to get to 3,500, and then trying to get, if you're building muscle and not putting on too much fat, go to 4,000. All right, but it is hard to get that much food in. Okay, so don't be too worried about that. Just start because what's going to happen is that you're actually going to be able to eat more as you go. Okay, what you don't want to do is start ruining your digestive tract, though. You want to be eating a whole bunch of crappy food, like processed foods, just to get there. And you can do that for a short time, and it does work. But the problem with that is maybe the side effects that could cause stomach upset. And if you have stomach upset, I'm going to talk about this a bit later. It can really hinder your results and how you feel, and a lot of other things. So, what foods are best? All right, to get this, these macros at the right spot. Well, first of all, I always like to think of food as fuel. Okay, so food is fueling your body. Okay, it's giving you what your body needs to be able to run day to day. All right, and it really does indicate of how you feel. Okay, so we have these things called neurotransmitters. okay? And they're sort of like just these messenger signals to make you feel a certain way, all right? And if you feel really good and like motivated, how much easier is it to go and work out and to eat well and to, do all the tasks you need to do, all right? And so like my main thing is always, can I get someone feeling good so then they're going to work out better, and they're more likely to stick to what they're doing. Okay, and so this is why I always recommend the meat for breakfast. Okay, especially red meat, lamb or steak. They're my two favorites with eggs, usually, or bacon. All right, and the reason I do that is because red meat actually has a lot of tyrosine, and tyrosine is actually a precursor for dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter which makes you. It helps you like your reward system. So it makes you want to go and do things for your day. It makes you want to get things done. Right? So that's really important for me, and like anyone that's trying to go out and do things in the world and trying to achieve things is to have dopamine ready to go, ready to want to go and achieve things. And actually, I'm just going to quickly throw this in, but like, you'll notice, you'll deplete your dopamine quite easily by just looking at your phone and scrolling on Instagram things, because you're actually getting quick dopamine hits of like looking at things that makes you happy for a second. You go, oh yeah, that's actually the same sort of reward mechanism pathway. Anyway, getting back to our food. So steak for breakfast and eggs is another one. So eggs has a lot of choline, especially the yolk. Okay, so the yolk is especially important for that choline, which can get turned into acetylcholine, all right? And this is another thing which is helping you, right, go and get things done, all right? And that's so important. Like, if you want to get things done, if you want to be consistent, and that's the number one thing for building muscle mass and, becoming a better rugby player is being consistent at getting stuff done, getting your skill work done, getting your gym work done, getting to bed on time, all right? That's another important factor, all right? It's another thing that's going to fuel this brain of yours. And that's what I want. Like, I want smart, strong rugby players. So, eggs is another one on top of that list. Now, if you're struggling to put on mass, right, I really do like a cold pressed milk. And I say cold pressed because it's usually more easily digestible. Okay, it's still got more enzymes in it. It's very hard to get raw milk, so I say cold pressed. There's a few around in Australia I know that is totally cold pressed, and most people don't seem to have a problem with their digestive issues. Whereas normal milk, you might get those digestive issues, and that can be a problem. But like, it's quite high calories, high protein, medium fats, medium sugars. So quite a easy way to get the mass on. Now, another tip would be to have, if you're really struggling to get the food in, right? Like, you're just not hungry, have apple juice for breakfast. Okay, have apple juice for breakfast. And like, people go, why apple juice? Well, it's actually just like pretty much just sugar. All right, so it's a whole lot of calories, and it's actually going to make you hungrier. Which is really funny because, they feed it to little kids and be like, oh, that's really healthy. No, it's not exactly really healthy, but it will make you hungrier throughout the day. And it's got a whole lot of different pathways which does that. But like, if you want to eat more, have some apple juice in the morning, and I tell you what, you're going to be hungry. All right. So that's one other really good way. The other things I like to have is like rice on the go. So I always like to cook like a big thing of white rice. I like to have lots of sweet potato ready to go. Really easy. Chuck it in the air fryer. Whatever you got, have it ready to go. On the go, if like I'm trying to hit my protein, like I'm away, I get biltong. That's another easy snack, which is just dried out steak. Let's think of some other foods just off the top of my head. Rice crackers, if you're at school, they're a good one. Rice crackers, you can put peanut butter and stuff on it if you're not allergic to it. So these are good foods, nice and easy foods that you can take pretty much anywhere. I like to have a lot of berries as well. So a lot of frozen berries I'll have because it's a carbohydrate, low glycemic, and pretty easy to consume. Now, what about if you are worried about putting on too much fat and not muscle? I mean, this is a perspective thing, okay? It comes back to that question of how much do you actually need to put on? How much bigger do you want to be? That's a big question. And is that going to impact your performance? How much is that going to slow you down? Okay, so if it's only a couple kilos, and you can do a couple kilos without putting on any fat. But if it's 10 kilos, I guarantee you ain't putting on 10 kilos of just lean muscle tissue in 10 weeks or like, even 6 months. That will be tough unless you're an absolute beginner. So if you're trying to put on 10 kilos, yes, you're going to put on some fat. But don't be too worried because, like, if you're doing your sprint work as well, you're doing your other stuff, you should be able to keep up your relative strength to, keep that size. If it's just too much fat, what you need to do is actually just, cut back, or you don't have to do it this way. There's other ways to do it, but I just like to cut back on carbohydrates and just leave them all to the afternoon. And I think you'll find that will actually really help you still replace that your glycogen in the muscles, but during the day, you're not going to be eating as much. Okay, so that might just slow down how much weight you're gaining. Okay, and that will help assist with just putting on lean muscle tissue. Okay, now my big one is digestive issues. Okay, so if you are someone, you got stinky farts all the time, there's protein, like, there's deadly farts. You get into the elevator and someone farts and you're just like, holy, what the hell is that? Like, if you're one of those people, or if you eat something, you get bloated, you feel very full all the time, you get acid reflux. There's so many different symptoms I can bring up here. Or your poos are always runny, or like or you can't poo at all. These are all digestive issues, right? And if you have any of these sort of symptoms, then like you're probably not absorbing your food very well. Okay, if you're not absorbing your food very well, and that includes your nutrients, especially like your B vitamins and stuff like that, what's going to happen is it's not, you're not going to be able to use your protein anywhere near as well. It's going to sit in the stomach and it's going to ferment, or the small intestine. It's going to ferment in there. Okay, so like this is why it's important to actually be aware what's happening in your body when you eat. Okay, and this is why you can't just eat like processed foods all the time and just expect to be a weapon, and expect not to get fat. You'll have to go through phases of, okay, like I'm going to go really hard now. Maybe I'll eat a little bit more shitty food, and then you're going to have to bring it back. Or you can just play the long game and just keep eating well and gradually build up. That's what I tend to like to do. But when I was younger, I was a bit different. Yeah. So if you have any of those digestive issues, that's something that you need to work out. All right, it's something that you need to fix up before you even try and go further. Because one, if you're not absorbing your nutrients right, then once again we're going to come back to those hormones. Your hormones aren't going to be firing properly. Okay, because they're dictating all the little things that's going on in your body to actually make you run properly. Okay, make your body feel good, do all the things it's meant to do. And one of the big things it'll actually be impacting on is testosterone. Okay, and we're going to get to that. So the thing that you can do to help out your digestive system right now is you can have apple cider vinegar before your meals. Okay, and that will just help you be a bit more acidic. So it's quite acidic. Put it with water, just a tablespoon in water. Drink it before you eat, and that's going to make you a bit more acidic. Okay, the acidity in your stomach is actually going to help you break down the protein. Okay, if you can break down the protein, then you can actually use it better. Okay, you can go throughout your body, and that's a big important part, right? And then number 2 is add in a bone broth. Okay, add in what your body needs to actually repair the guts. Okay, all right, and collagen is one of the big pieces of that. Okay, and it's got certain amino acids in there, which is actually going to help you with that repair. So if you can have a bone broth twice a day, 2 servings of bone broth a day, that's going to just hopefully help you maintain a strong gut lining. Okay, so I'm not talking about the bacteria right now, but the gut lining. If you have a strong gut lining, then hopefully that gut bacteria actually is quite good in there. All right, and if that's all working well, then your hormones are going to be working better, your energy is going to be better, you're going to be digesting better, and all these things are going to be working better to help you build more muscle. Okay, so there's a lot more going on here. Now, let's come back to those hormones. Testosterone. Testosterone has dropped by up to 60% in the last 30 years across males. And that is crazy if you think about it, because testosterone affects all these different systems in your body especially as males. Like it's a little bit different for females, but I'm talking particularly to males here. Especially your growth hormone. So how well you can actually build muscle is going to come back to testosterone. Okay, so and that's massive. So like if your recovery isn't right, it could be testosterone. Now, so many things impact it, like food, digestion, sleep, your thyroid, all these things are sort of impacting it. What you can do today is actually go and organize with your doctor, I don't care how old you are, a blood test to get your testosterone checked. Okay, and you want to see if it's on the high end of what they are saying it should be. Okay, so I have what I want my RDC clients to be at, and I have that up. But I want you to go and get it checked, and then you can keep that baseline. Okay, you can see. Okay, you can actually see in your training. Okay, is my training depleting me too much? Okay, is my foods actually helping me build my testosterone? And am I keeping high testosterone? Because if you have high testosterone, you're actually more motivated too. All right, you're more motivated as a male. You're more competitive, and you're everything you need for rugby. Okay, you're just more masculine. There's all these different traits. So what I want you to do is actually go and get it checked. You organize with your doctor. Say, hey, I want to get a blood test. I want to get my testosterone checked. Okay, and then you can have that baseline. All right, if it's low, you can be like, straight away, okay, I need to fix this. All right, you come back to me and go, hey, Pat, how do I fix this? And I'll point you in the right direction. All right, and that's just about it for this video. That's quite an extensive one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it. If you got something out of it, please comment. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you want to hear, or what you want to know about, and I can make some videos on it. Please subscribe, and you'll see me tomorrow talking about testosterone. Let's go.